welcome to Powerful Stuff. We are looking into the new year in this episode, and this is going to be a short, but you guessed it, very powerful episode of just centering in acknowledgement and gratitude and processing of 2023 and visioning for 2024. So this is your perfect one stop for getting clear on what the last year brought you and how to step into 2024. So in past episodes, we've talked about how to ceremonialize everything. And regardless of what you're doing for New Year's, you can listen to this episode and pause it as you want to write down journaling questions. And we'll have a meditation at the end. As always, we would never do you guys dirty like that. Of course, we're going to have a meditation that you can start to use to vision for this next year ahead. So you can go into 2024 with your running shoes laced up, ready to go, feeling like you've had powerful fuel from 2023. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right in. So congratulations, you made it to the end of 2023, whether it came hell or high water, moments of joy, everything in between. And, now is really a time to celebrate and acknowledge yourself. I like to say, when we are manifesting what we want to happen next, nothing is more powerful than accepting, acknowledging, and giving gratitude for where we already are. So before we get into the juiciness of the visioning for 2024, we're going to take the first part of this episode to acknowledge 2023. So to start out, it really comes down to, like I just said, acknowledging yourself. What have you done this year that you're really proud of? What have you moved through that felt really challenging at the time? And now you're on the other side, a wiser, more empowered version of you, where you're like, wow, I can't believe that I did that, or I got through that. That was really hard. I'm really proud of myself for, moving through it with integrity and with grace. Or maybe you had some difficult conversations that you're really proud of how you handled, or boundaries that you've set that you've held to. So for step number one, just acknowledge all that you've done in 2023. All the moments that you've stepped up and moved through, and just pause here and start to write down and think and acknowledge yourself for all that you've already done. I, in fact, like to do this in a letter form, and I'll write myself a letter and I'll be like, Dear Meredith, wow, holy shit, we've done it. We've made it through this year. And really list off and acknowledge all the things that I've done, how that might have been challenging for me, or, empathizing with that past version of myself and celebrating how I came out on the other side. So whatever you want to do that for you as well, starting with that acknowledgement. And once you're feeling really good in that acknowledgement, yeah, I have done these things and I am fucking proud of myself. The second step is to clear out or release or process anything that you feel frustrated by with 2023, or heartbroken over, or just any lingering emotions that you don't really want to carry into the next year. So for step two, writing down anything you want to forgive yourself for, maybe anything you want to forgive other people for, any, unprocessed grief around something, unprocessed frustration or resentment, and it can be toward other people, it can be toward yourself, anything that, might have felt like you were self-sabotaging this year, or maybe you didn't make a change as quickly as you wanted to. Step two is just, getting out all of that. And I like to, again, write that maybe as a letter, whether it's to myself or to someone else, and kind of get out all those uncomfortable emotions. And then after you do step two, maybe with that sheet of paper, you rip it up and you burn it, or you flush it down the toilet, but just something to ceremonialize it, getting out of your system. Maybe you scream it into a pillow, or go for like a car ride where you scream some dashboard confessional. That was my, emo music of choice when I want to release something, and just kind of getting that emotion out of your body. Maybe you need to have a bath and get your, Epsom salts and light your candles and just let yourself cry. But whatever it is, just letting yourself kind of clear out any stuck emotions. as Edith Eger says, who wrote the book The Choice, which is a great book and I highly recommend it, to heal it, we have to first feel it. So asking yourself, what unprocessed emotions do I still need to feel? What forgiveness for myself or do others do I still need to release? Okay, now that we've gotten that done, step 3 is gratitude for this year. So what are you grateful for that did happen in 2023? Whether it's grateful for stuff that you've done, grateful for ways that other people have shown up for you, grateful for different friendships that you've deepened or made. The third step to really close out 2023 is to end in gratitude. So even with that difficult stuff or that uncomfortable stuff, how are you grateful for it? How did it, refine your wisdom into what you really don't want? And thus now you can get clear on what you do want, or how you might have handled something now that you would have handled differently. How did that teach you so you can grow, so you can be perfectly positioned for something even greater? So to recap those 3 steps, step 1 is acknowledgement, acknowledging yourself for what you've already done. Step 2 is releasing any emotions that still need to be processed. And then step 3 is returning to gratitude. How are you grateful for this year? What are all the amazing things that happened? Maybe even writing down some of your favorite memories from 2023, steps that you've taken in 2023, people who have helped you along the way. And to really supercharge this gratitude, it helps to maybe send a person or two a note or a text of how they've helped you along your journey. And we supercharge our gratitude and thus our manifestation when we can really sit in this and send it out and amplify it. So I really do highly encourage you to send someone a text who has helped you or who you are really grateful for from this year, and let them know why you're grateful for them. And then sitting in this energy of gratitude, we are now perfectly positioned to move to 2024. So to start the 2024 visioning, I like to start by doing what I call blue skies. And this is kind of just like writing down all the crazy, wonderful things. Like, wouldn't it be so cool if this happened this year? Wouldn't it be so amazing if XYZ came into place, or I started doing this thing, or I cultivated this habit or ritual? So for 2024, the first step is blue skies. So go ahead and after you hear me say this, pause the podcast and really think about like what things would just light you up this year. And when you get to the end of this year, what things would you be like, fuck yeah, that happened in 2024. And so start to write those down and let yourself go crazy. Don't think about, oh, well, this thing would need to happen first, or what if this, doesn't happen, then that certainly won't happen. Like, remove those barriers. And similar to, some of the process in 2023, if you need to write those shoulds or those fears down, write them down, acknowledge them, and then get them out of the way. And so once you've written down all of the visioning things, and you really want to challenge yourself to like dial it up even like 10% more than what you think is possible, to really stretch yourself. And notice too that it should incite a little bit of excitement and maybe even a little bit of fear, because as I always quote Carolyn Elliott, who wrote Existential Kink, fear is excitement without the breath. So what's something that would feel a little exciting? And hopefully your heart starts to race a little bit when you think about it, or it just brings you so much joy to think about. So I like to put on vibey visioning music when I do this. I like to listen to Kid Francescoli's song Moon, parentheses, and It Went Like, and just let my mind run crazy for a little bit. So after you do this visioning step, then you want to move to rewind it back or reverse engineer it to the feeling. How would I feel when I'm doing those things? So look through that list, and for each thing that you wrote, write down how you would feel if it happened. How would I feel if I ended up being paid to do what I love? How would it feel if I was in that partnership with unconditional love every day? How would it feel if I, had that community or was leading those events or whatever it might be? And really start to tap into those feelings Okay, so step 1 for 2024 was the blue skies. Step 2 was taking it back to the feeling, distilling it to the feeling. And then I would add a second step to step 2 is why. Like, why does that thing matter to you? Why is it important to you? Why is it fueling you? Why is it part of your like larger mission or purpose or desire? And then once you get clear on those things, then to round it all out, step 3 for 2024, or step 6 total, if you will, is what can I do in January to start to cultivate that feeling? How can I optimize my environment to start being that person right now? So what are some tiny baby steps I can take that feel really manageable? Again, maybe ever so slightly out of my comfort zone. How can I start to take those steps in January right now? And so breaking it down into a little list. And then once you've done those things in January and rebuilt or built up even more that self-trust, then you can pause and be like, wow, I've actually done it. And if I've increased my self-trust now, how can I stretch that for February? And then checking in at the end of February. And then how can I stretch that for March? And I like to break it down by months because it feels very manageable in months. And of course, you can then, put it into quarters, put it into half year, put it into the full year. But that way, each baby step feels like it's manageable, but also part of this larger plan that's leading you to the vision of your whole year. So with that, we'll recount the 6 steps and then we'll go straight into our meditation. So starting off by acknowledging first 2023, what you're proud of in yourself. Step 2, releasing any residual emotions that still need to be processed, any forgiveness that still needs to be had. Step 3, couching it in gratitude for all that's already happened this year, all the things that have transpired to help you be exactly where you are today. And then step 4, as we enter into 2024, is the blue skies vision. What is the blue skies vision for 2024? And just to add on there, how is that version of you on the other side of this year? How are they acting? How are they dressing? What kind of friends do they have? What kind of ritual do they have in their morning routine, in their evening routine, how they interact with people, how they're spending their time, how they're expressing their creativity, really getting clear in that vision, not only of the cool things you're doing, but how that version of you is showing up. Step 5 is distilling it to the feeling. How does that make you feel when you consider that vision, when you consider those amazing things that are happening? And then after step 5 comes step 6. How can you start taking those baby steps right now, this week, today? How can you break down that larger vision for 2024? And what can I do in January? What can I do in January consistently being so important? And as I mentioned in the 2023 Wrapped episode, consistency breeds confidence, and that is self-trust. So by taking those baby steps today, you're already setting the wheels into motion and leaving some space for magic, for trust that if I keep showing up as that person, even when my external reality doesn't reflect that, I trust in the lag time. I trust in the unseen, that as I take the next step and the next step after that, the path before me becomes clear. Wow. So powerful, guys. Okay, so I promised this would be a short-ish episode. So with that, go ahead and find a comfortable seat for meditation. Rolling your shoulders out, rolling your head out, shaking your hands out, just getting out all the little niggles. And then we'll take 3 cleansing breaths as always. We love our 3 breaths at Powerful Stuff in Venice, in LA, and beyond. So taking a deep breath in through your nose, pulling up all of that acknowledgement from 2023, exhaling it out. Second breath, breathing in whatever you need to release, whatever still feels stuck, and exhaling it out, feeling it softly make its way out of your body. And then Third breath in, breathing in all the possibility for 2024. And as you pull that breath up to the crown of your head, imagining it transforming you into that version of you who's already doing it, and exhaling that trust out. Because the truth is, you are already doing it. So as your eyes are closed and your breath is slowing down in through your nose and out through your mouth, imagining that you're in this beautiful field, where you can feel the wind on your skin and blowing through your hair, where you can feel the fertile soil beneath your feet. And as you're walking through this field, you come to a beautiful, beautiful clearing. Mountains in the background, butterflies flying everywhere. And in this clearing, you see a beautiful, still lake. And in this lake is a perfect reflection of who you were this time last year. And just looking at that version of you with so much love and compassion. Seeing in this lake reflection the energy that you held yourself with. Seeing what you've moved through this last year. Seeing all the people that have helped you along the way. And just telling that version of you in the lake, in that reflection, how proud you are of them. That they were doing enough. They were doing the best they could with what they had. And that they were leading you back home to the most you version of you there ever was. And as they receive this, feeling gratitude start to emanate from your heart, creating this beautiful aura around you, lighting up the lake, lighting up the colors of the sky till it's like this pink sky, feeling it come out of your fingers and your toes and your hair. And with this gratitude pulsing through your heart, seeing in this lake now a new vision of the things that you get to heal to clear space for 2024. Maybe it's a friendship, maybe it's a feeling of resentment, whatever emotion or feeling or person or scene comes up, just trusting it. And allowing whatever emotion now to come up in your heart when you see that vision. Letting yourself breathe into it. Letting it start to take over you. And almost like you're extracting something, place one hand on your heart and pull that emotion, that hard feeling out of your heart. Maybe it takes a few pulls, kind of like you're pulling out tar or something. And as you feel the weight of it in your hands, still keeping your eyes closed, start to rub your hands together, converting this old, heavy emotion into something new. And as you're rubbing your hands together, once you feel like it's turned into soil, placing your hands down on the earth and feeling it transform into the perfect fertile soil for what you're about to do next. Feeling the earth strengthen and lift you even higher, lifting your spine, bringing a smile to your lips, seeing how it all had to unfold perfectly to bring you here. And as you place that soil onto the earth, asking your heart, your omniscient, all-seeing self in your heart, what action can you take to clear this emotion? Or what perspective can you take to powerfully own and move forward? Maybe it's a conversation that you need to have. Maybe it's forgiveness you need to give yourself or someone else, trusting whatever comes up. And allowing yourself full permission to do just that. And placing your hands back on the earth one more time to let that soil know that it will be watered and transformed into a new, beautiful seed for 2024. And as you've placed your hands on the earth, you look back at the lake, now rippling with the magic of that soil, shining even brighter, starting to see visions of your 2024 flash before your eyes like you're watching a movie on this lake. And letting these visions excite and inspire you. Trusting whatever visions you see, maybe they feel random or something you've never done before. Letting them play out for the next few breaths. Noticing who you are in those visions, how you're carrying yourself, how you're perfectly connected to your personal power, your internal compass, how you're being guided by the idea of what would bring me the most joy. And seeing in these visions that as you bring yourself this joy, that joy reaches out to touch and have even greater impact on those around you. And as you bring out that joy in them, giving them full permission to be themselves, and this creating this beautiful ripple effect. And as it creates this beautiful ripple effect, coming back to the vision in the lake and taking those emotions once again back into your heart space, this beautiful space of your all-knowing self, and noticing what feelings those things have brought up in you. What feelings of you living out your purpose and joy are present. And breathing into those feelings now, sending them from your heart down to your roots, your sense of self, then sending them up through your hips, your sense of creativity, up through your navel center, your sense of personal power, up to your heart, your sense of connection to yourself and others, up to your throat, being able to communicate from this place of authenticity, up to your third eye and between your eyebrows, connecting you to your intuition, your guiding light, and finally up and out the crown of your head, connecting you and your harmony with the universal harmony of the world around you. And now that you're emanating in this flow state, asking your internal self, your all-knowing self, what is the perfect next steps I can take in the next few days, in the next few weeks, to start to set this in motion? What are the perfect next little steps that I can take? Asking your internal self for an answer, trusting whatever your intuition says, and then as you get that answer, asking your highest all-knowing self for a piece of wisdom to carry you through this year. Maybe it's a mantra, maybe it's a word or a saying. What is the perfect wisdom that you can remind yourself of this year to come back to connect you to those visions? Breathing that in, thanking your all-knowing self for connecting you to those wisdoms, and knowing that where you are right here in this moment is the perfect moment to be who you were always meant to be. And this highest self, this guiding light, is always there with you throughout this year and beyond when you slow down and you return to this inner world. Taking a deep breath in to seal in this vision. Exhaling to release it. Taking another breath in to seal in the wisdom for this year. And exhale, sending that through your body. And third breath in, bringing all of that wisdom and magic into the present moment and exhaling it out as you slowly open your eyes. And come back into this space. Well, everyone, I hope that this beautifully prepares you to step into your 2024. Let us know what you saw in those visions. Tell us what you're going to do to stay accountable to those visions. We'd love to help keep you accountable, and let us know what would be supportive for you in this next year as topics on powerful stuff. We would love to support you along your journey. Thank you for being with us in 2023. I know for me, something that I'm really proud of is committing to do powerful stuff every week this year. And we've done it. We've made it to next year. Super grateful that we've made the time to do it. Super grateful for Eileen and how we've built this beautiful movement and podcast and energy together. And super grateful for all of you who have listened and tuned in and given us continued energy to continue putting out powerful stuff into 2024. So this episode was built with you in mind and as a thank you to you for listening and being with us on this journey of powerful stuff. We're excited to see you next week for more powerful stuff. Hold on, I didn't say it the way I usually do. Powerful stuff. And we are so excited to kick off 2024 with you. I would say I would press my little boom, boom, boom button, but didn't make it into the suitcase to Houston. But know that that excited horn is with us in spirit. Okay, love you guys. See you next week. Thank you for listening to the Powerful Stuff podcast. We're your hosts, Meredith Baker
and Eileen Leguiu. We hope that you learned some powerful stuff that you can take away and implement into your own life.
And if you do, we would love it if you rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast, Powerful Stuff. And if something deeply resonates with you and you share it on social media, tag us. We would love to hear from you. And we will also see you next week for some more powerful stuff.